Hey guys, it's Ms. Paraso. So hopefully from the first video that you watched, you maybe have a good sense of what translations are. So we're going to go ahead and just complete these guided notes so that way you have them for reference. So from the video that you watched, you should have seen that it is a translation that we're talking about. And a translation is a type of transformation. There's 4 different types of transformations that we're going to be talking about. We've got translation, reflection, rotation, and also a dilation. So those are ones we're going to focus on for this unit. Okay, but right now let's talk about translation. All right, and it's just where a figure is translated. You can think of the word slide, okay, or moved across the coordinate plane. A translation does not change size, shape, or orientation, and produces a congruent shape. So everything stays true to it. It's just like, here's my pencil, I slid it down. Okay, I didn't turn my pencil, I didn't flip my pencil over, I didn't roll it across the thing. Okay, so to translate a figure, every point of the pre-image. So they didn't really talk about that in the video, but a pre-image is your original image. Okay. So it's moved the same distance and in the same direction. So the pre-image creates the image, all right? So kind of like you're thinking Star Wars, and then you have the prequels, which actually came after it, and so they really go before it, and all that stuff, right? So for the x coordinate, you're moving you're moving it right or left because it goes horizontal. So if you're going to move the figure right, you're adding to it. If you're going to move it to the left, you are subtracting. Okay? Same idea for the y values. If you move it up, you're adding to the y value because you're increasing it. And if you go down, you're subtracting from the y value. So that's like what that means as far as what's happening on the coordinate plane. Now, what does it look like when you're writing a rule? It's basically saying, okay, I'm going to take my x value and I'm going to move it up so many spaces. Okay? Or sorry, not up. I'm going to move it to the right so many spaces, so a amount of spaces. I'm also going to move it up, so I'm going to take my y value and I'm going to add a value to that. So I'm moving up. So when I'm adding to the x, it means I'm going to the right. When I'm adding to the y, it means I'm going up. If I'm going to the left, I'm actually subtracting from my x value. And if I'm going up, I'm still adding. So that's what the rule would look like there. Okay? And we can keep on going. So if we're going to go to the right, we're still adding to our x value. And if we're moving down, we're subtracting from our x value. Left, I'm going to subtract. Down, I'm going to subtract. So those are like the algebraic rules that you can apply to a point to translate it. Okay, so let's take a look at an example here. So first thing, you should, if I was nice and made you copies with the image already on there, that's awesome. Otherwise, you're going to have to go and graph it because I did not do that for myself. So I'm going to go ahead and put the pre-image on my graph. So -3, -2, -2, and that's M. I'm going to label that. -2, 2. And be careful here. These are a little off their lines. The number's like above it. So that's O. And we have 1, 2, that's V. And 2, 0 is E. All right, so there's our shape. Okay, so it says translate the figure move using the rule x plus 3, y minus 3. Well, right here, this tells me that I'm going to go to the right 3 places, and this tells me that I'm going to go down 3 spaces. Right? Now, here's the thing. If you are given a graphed image, the thing that's nice about that is that you can simply use your graphed image. You don't have to do all of this math over here. Just count and move it. Like, okay, I'm going to move M. I'm going to move 3 spaces to the right. 1, 2, 3, and 3 spaces down. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Okay, there's my new point, M. And when it's your new point, the new image, you're going to put what's called a prime symbol. Okay, so we put one single mark because we've moved it. This is one move. Right? We're doing one transformation on it. All right, I'm going to do the same thing with O. O, 1, 2, 3. O, 1, 2, 3. O prime. And same thing here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. B prime and E prime. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'll get my ruler next time. Okay? So if you're given a graphed image, you can literally just follow the rule directly on the graph. You don't have to apply the adding and subtracting. Okay, where that comes into play is, let's say I don't give you the graph, and I want you to change and tell me what will be the new point after translating this figure using this rule. Okay, now this is just here to help you think about the work. Right, so you're going to take -2 and you're going to add 3 to it. And you're going to take the point, the y value 2, and you're going to subtract 3 from it. And that's going to give you O prime. So you're going to get 1, -1. And if we look at our graph for O prime, 1, -1 is where I ended up when I counted them. Okay? So again, my x value, I'm increasing it by 3. My y value, I'm decreasing it by 3. So my v prime is 4, -1. And I can confirm that on the graph when I did the counting. That's how it worked out. 2 plus 3, 0 minus 3. So E prime is 5 minus 3. Okay, and I got 5 minus 3, 5 -3, my bad. Okay, 5 -3. Again, it looks like it's a -2, but these are shifted off a little bit. All right, so if I had to describe this transformation in words, well, what happened? I moved right 3 places, and then I moved down 3 places. That's all I'm asking about for describing in words. What happened? I went down to the right and down to the right 3 places in both directions. Okay? All right. So, go ahead and pause the video at this time, so now that you have an idea about how to go through it. In this case, again, was I nice and did I graph it for you, or am I going to make you graph the pre-image? If the pre-image is not there, you need to graph the pre-image because we want to see how it moves, all right, and then give me what the new image is. Don't forget about using your prime marks and describing it. When you're done with example 2, go ahead and click play to see if you got it correct. All right, welcome back. Take a look at how you did. Pay attention to your second image, your new image. Okay, we've got the pre-image here. Things that you want to check. Do you have the points labeled correctly with the correct letter? Do you also have the prime mark? Are your lines straight? I'm a stickler for straight lines. Like precision counts, guys. We're working with geometry, so if you need to, go grab a ruler. All right. Also double check here that you have the correct point values. Coordinate values, sorry. You can see that I just did a little messy math just to make sure I was doing it correctly in my head. And that they're also labeled, okay? And then describing in words what exactly happened. We moved left 1 spot, and we went up 2 places, okay? All right, go ahead and finish up the following examples. When you are all done, come back and check to see if you've got the correct answers to make sure you're going, you're on the right track with this stuff. All right, here you go. You can go ahead and pause and check your answers at this time. Things I want you to pay attention to. Okay, notice here, when you're translating something, it does not have to happen to both variables. In this case, just the y value is moving. So what that means is that my figure did not move left or right, it just moved down. Okay, so we can just move it in one direction, or we can move it in 2 directions. What I want you to check, do you have the, correctly labeled, do you have the prime symbol for your new points? Okay, notice here again, once it's been translated, once a rule or something has happened to it, make sure you've got those prime values, right? And again, here we see that in this figure, it only moved to the left or to the right one spot. It didn't go up or down. Okay? And then in example 6, you had to determine what the rule was. So what I did was I just pulled the pre-image coordinate and the new coordinate, and I took a look vertically to see what happened. -2 to 0, well, that's a +2. 5 to 2, that's a -3. And then I just double checked that with all of the other coordinates to make sure that that was the rule. So since I was adding 2 to the x value, that was my rule, and I was subtracting 3 to the y value, there's my rule. Okay? Now in this one, you have to know how to identify which one is the original, the pre-image, and which one's the new one. Remember, the new image, the translated image, the transformed image, is going to have that prime marker. Okay? So we start from the original, and I'm going to trace the path that takes it to get to the prime. Okay? So I went 4 places to the left and up 1. So you might want to start with your words in this case. Well, if I go left 4, that means I'm subtracting 4. And if I go up 1, it means I add 1. Right? Okay, you guys should be set to do some practice problems. And if you're ready, after you do your practice problems, go ahead and move on to the next step.